Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
My vision is I envision a world where success is measured by happiness and joy as opposed to title and money. And I have a personal mission to touch 10,000 people with one tidbit of information that changes the way they think.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on visibility strategies for women entrepreneurs. If you want to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice and business, you're in the right place. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, professional singer and visibility strategist. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode.
Professional moms, if you're juggling work, mom guilt, and nightly debates about discipline, meet The Calm and Connected Parent by psychotherapist Todd Sarner. An attachment-first roadmap to unity and calmer homes. Out now. Visit transformativeparenting.com and click New Book at the top for bonuses, details, and updates starting today.
Hi, Becca. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I am so excited to hear more about you and what you do in the world. Why don't you kick us off and tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Rebecca Pearce. I'm a personal executive coach. I'm based in Baltimore, Maryland. Believe it or not, I like it here. So I would say that I have a story to share, and I'm going to start us back in 2011, believe it or not. And so in 2011, I was identified as the very first health benefit exchange CEO in all of the country. So this was back when Obamacare was being designed, and each state had the opportunity to create their own exchange. For 2 years, it was September of 2011. For 2 years, I worked as hard as I could not have believed more in what we were doing, could not have worked harder to make what we were doing work. But in December of 2013, I lost my job quite publicly because it didn't turn on. And fast forward, so that was a huge issue for me, obviously. I had lost my identity in all of this. I didn't realize that, in all of those 2 years of literally putting my life on hold, didn't go to my daughter's school for two years, just, nonstop focused on work, I had lost my identity. And so when I lost my job quite publicly above the fold with a picture on the news at 5, 6, and 11, it was devastating. Fast forward 14 months, I couldn't hear out of my left ear, and my daughter was 7 at the time. And, I'd say, oh, you can't whisper into mommy's bad ear, you have to whisper into mommy's good ear. I finally went in for a hearing exam to find out that I had a brain tumor the size of a ping-pong ball, and I needed surgery imminently. And so from the time that I was diagnosed to the time that I was on the table was 5 weeks.
Wow.
During that time, I tried to pull my whole, tie everything up in a bow. I had no idea if I was going to survive this, right? So I felt like I took my family to the Bahamas for 4 days because I thought it was going to be the last vacation we ever took together. I did everything I could to kind of keep my life together. Fortunately, it was benign and operable. So after our 12-hour surgery, I woke up and I thought to myself, oh my God, thank God I'm alive.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's wild.
And still it was a really big deal when you have a brain tumor.
Yeah.
And the surgery, it was as if I had a stroke on the table. My left side of my face was paralyzed for a full year. I'm mostly blind in my left eye. I'm deaf in my left ear. Just serious and ongoing balance issues for the rest of my life. And so it's just was a complete upheaval in everything that I knew. It was an upheaval of everything that I knew about success, about what mattered in life. All I wanted to do was put my daughter on the bus one more day because there was a fear that I might never be able to do that again. And so having been this high-powered CEO and achieve my entire life, this was who I was. All I cared about was money and title and achieving more. And all of a sudden, my entire life switched from that space to all I want to do is put my daughter on the bus. And so really it took a while for me to figure out, how do I merge these two? How do I find this place where I can balance this old me and also welcome this new place where emotion mattered and life mattered, and time was the only thing that really mattered in life. So that's where I went back to school to become an executive coach. Since then, I have added personal in front of that because much of my coaching, you cannot separate executive coaching from personal coaching. It is all one thing together. And so when people coach with me, there are times that we cry together. There are times that we really dig into that emotion and understand what is it that's going on for you right now. And there are times that I sit there and say, what's the impact to your bottom line? Why are we doing this, right? So it's that balance that I bring to the table. And that's, in a nutshell, who I am.
Oh my gosh, what a story. That is just wild. And talk about a wake-up call, right?
Yeah.
So many levels.
Yeah.
Then finding that balance, because it didn't mean that you had to stop everything and not do anything, because I think that's sometimes what we think, okay, it's all or nothing, right? Then now all I do is be with family, but you felt that pull to have a career and to continue, helping people, supporting people in a different way. And I was going to ask you what the difference is between a personal executive coach and a life coach or an executive coach. And thank you for explaining that, because it is so true. Everything overlaps. It's who we are. We are all these things. So it makes sense that you handle all of that. Thank you so much for sharing. So is there a specific type of person that you support? Is it career, women, men? Tell us more about the demographic.
So I support successful people. I will say the majority are women.
Okay.
But I support successful people in general. That can be a business owner, that can be a C-suite executive, that can be somebody who's spent their life achieving and is in this space where they're beginning to recognize that, I often say, you've taken care of your kids, you've taken care of your dog, you've taken care of your husband, you've taken care of your parents, you've had the job that you're supposed to have, air quote, you've done everything you're supposed to have done, and you're waking up and you're saying, I'm afraid that I might not be happy. Those are the people that I work with who make transformational changes with me, because they're finally ready to recognize and look in the mirror and look at all of their preconceived notions about how they got to where they are now and what they think they wanted, and help them get to a place where they know what they actually want.
Yeah. I like the way you put, I'm afraid I'm not happy, because these people should look at their lives, or would look at their lives and think I should be happy, right?
Yes.
I've accomplished everything. And then there's that
Yes.
feeling, they don't even know how to name it.
Yes.
I'm afraid
for sure.
I'm not happy. Is this, am I being ungrateful? I've reached so much, and it's so helpful to have somebody to mirror that back and ask those questions. Obviously, I'm a huge proponent of coaching, and I know how important it is to have somebody outside of yourself. Now, besides supporting people in this amazing way, I know you have something super exciting, which is your book that you've published. Tell us more about that.
Yes. So I just published a book. It's called You Don't Have to Achieve to Be Loved. Escape the Lies You've Been Sold to Design the Life You Want.
So good.
And it is partially my story, but only in so much that it helps define for the reader what they can connect to. So, it goes through kind of all of the realizations that I realized, mind-blowing realizations. Like this idea that you don't have to achieve to be loved is the title of my book, because it was also the first truly mind-blowing. I honestly just sat there and was like, I don't understand. Like, this is not computing for me until, my husband was like, you realize that people love you just because who you are. And I was like, oh, no, I don't even know what you're saying to me. So it goes through those mind-blowing realizations, and it also has a change process. And so in this change process, in the 8 years that I've been coaching people, this is the change process that not only I go through, but it's a defined change process that everybody goes through. So Marta, I want you to just, in your mind, as I go through this, think about a change that you've gone through. So there are 4 phases. And the first phase is unfortunate awareness. This is I'm afraid I'm unhappy.
Yeah.
Right? This can be, I don't like my job anymore. Unfortunately, it can sometimes be my marriage is not working anymore. Whatever the case may be, you're in this space where you can't unsee that something's wrong. Yeah. This is where a lot of people get stuck, because of that shoulding, of that no. But if from the outside it looks like I should be really happy, and or I make the amount of money that I do, I could never do anything else, right? People get stuck in this phase. And it's not until they take a look at what their personal expectations are on themselves before they can move into the second phase where they're beginning to move forward. That second phase is mourning the past. Because once you get to the phase where you're like, okay, I'm ready to move on, part of you says, you know what, but I liked that CEO. Or I actually had a client say to me, I actually liked being married. I don't like my husband, but I like the idea of being married, right? So there's that mourning the past phase where you really need to lean into this with curiosity and say, okay, what is it that was really important to me and how do I move on? That third phase is 1 foot in, 1 foot out. In this 1 foot in, 1 foot out stage, this is where your social and emotional ties come in. This is what's my family going to say? Who are my friends going to be? If I make this change, what does that mean for my life? Like, what do I actually need to change? And it's really those social, emotional pulls that pull you back. And this is where part of you knows that you're ready to change, but then the comfort part of you where your inner being kind of says, no, but your brain says, I'm going to keep you safe, and pulls you back to, no, but this is what we know, right? So it's that 1 foot in, 1 foot out stage. And it's not until for a lot of people, it's a financial discussion that finally moves them beyond, right? So one of the values of working with me is that it's not just, I'm not the coach who's like, oh, yes, you can do anything, and leaves you. I'm the coach that's going to help you figure out what that passion is, but then we're going to have a very real conversation about the finances. What do you need? How long do you need to stay in your job? I get that. There are real things going on around you that you need to take into consideration before you can really step into that new side of you. And so that's that, very serious conversation. And it's not until you have that conversation that you can move out to clearly me. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing is this can be as small as I'm changing jobs within my industry, and you go through this process. It may be a shorter process, but this is the process that if you're really making significant change in your life can take a year, 2 years before you're really comfortable.
So what was the name of the last stage? Was that Clearly Me?
Clearly Me.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I love that. Can you recap all the 4? Because they were so good. Oh my gosh. I love. Hey, let me ask you a question. Would you like to be my next guest on the Empowered Woman podcast? Do you have a story you'd like to share? Want more visibility for your business on a show ranked in the top 0.5% in the world? Well, then head on over to martasburke.com/podcast guest for more information.
So the first is unfortunate awareness. The second one is mourning the past. Then you move into 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And until you do that realistic decision point, you can't move on. And then the final stage is Clearly Me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that is so good. And I love that you are very careful to help people think about the financial consequences or the requirements for them to move into that. Because I think that's a bad rap in some ways in the coaching industry. That's like, oh, it's all this rainbow butterfly fluff, right? Go off, fulfill your dreams. Yeah, but I have bills to pay, and I can't be, consequential with the things that I do if I have a family. So especially with your background and your career, you are aware of all those things and you can support people through that. So I appreciate that very much. So is this framework something that you had developed with your coaching and then you put in the book? Was it something that you did individually and then it came through in your coaching? Tell us more about this, these lessons and realizations.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because as I was writing the book, I was trying to figure out exactly how to communicate what I wanted to communicate. Because when I found my publisher, and my publisher was very clear to say, nobody's going to read a memoir. Right. I understand that you have stuff to say, but nobody's going to read a memoir. And I was like, you're absolutely right. And this is why it took me 10 years of people saying, you have a book to write, you have a book to write, you have something to say. And I said, I'm not really sure what that is until in my mind, these two came together. I can write this book in a way that's going to help other people make the changes that they want to make, because I don't want people to have to go through what I went through to recognize what's actually important in life.
Yeah.
And to be able to live and monetize something that makes them happy, right? I went from working 80 to 100 hours a week to a place where I own my own business and I walk my dog for an hour every day, non-negotiable.
That's awesome.
And I can do it. Financially, I'm in the same place that I was before.
That's amazing. I love that. And thank you for bringing that up, because that is a big misconception in the publishing world for people that think lots of people will tell them you have a story to share, and then they will write a memoir and then maybe a little upset with the results of that, as opposed to, I need to extract the lessons. I need to make this value. It's not about my story, but my story illustrates the lessons that anyone can resonate with. So I love that you were careful to make sure and extract those. Do you have any client stories? I know you sprinkled a few here and there with examples, but anything that comes to mind? I love hearing stories, and I know the listeners do too.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm so excited. This one's really close to my heart because it's very current. I've been working with a pastor for the past 6 months, and she said to me, you know what? I've been a pastor for 20 years. It has been my calling. And at this point in my life, it's taking away from my family. It takes every Saturday and every Sunday away from my family. And is it okay for me to leave the church? We wrestled with that for months. Is it okay? What does it mean? Are you still serving God if you are not? Can you have the same conversation with people outside of your congregation? Can you still bring people to God? Can you still breathe the word without having to stand up in front of a congregation? It was this battle that we had for months, and internal, external, sometimes she said to me, you know what, Becca, it's too much, right? Like so we would step back and we would start over. And she has just communicated to her congregation that she's leaving. She has landed a consulting job with a nonprofit and is super excited. It's the first time she's been outside of the church in 20 years, but it's a church-based organization that she's working with. So it was such a massive change for her, and to help her go through that process and watch her struggling with that 1 foot in, 1 foot out, to finally get to the point where she literally sent me an email this morning that said, I'm so pleased that the congregation now understands. I'm receiving such good feedback. People are saying such beautiful things to me, and it's reaffirming that I'm on the right path and I'm ready to go.
That's wonderful. It's so good to be able to help somebody through that, because it's a major life decision. And at times, I would say most times, just relying on family and friends it's not the same as having a professional, somebody that has a system, a methodology, and has supported others in making these decisions, right? To have those conversations. I love that. So much for sharing this story.
Thanks.
Well, when you were saying about this specific client and how she felt that was her calling, what do you believe is your calling and your mission and your vision with what you're doing now in this second act, if I may call it that way?
So my vision is, I envision a world where success is measured by happiness and joy, as opposed to title and money. And I have a personal mission to touch 10,000 people with one tidbit of information that changes the way they think.
Right.
Just one.
Yeah, that is enough, right? Because a life is priceless. It's worth everything. I love that. Yeah. And you, with your life story, is a perfect example and very much credible in saying this. Because at times we hear certain messages and it's just people regurgitating things, right? But you've been through it, so you are absolutely entitled to help others with all of that. And thank you for putting your story in the book to support others. So is it available? Tell us the title again. Obviously, I'm going to have it in the show notes, and it's available on Amazon everywhere.
Sure. The title of the book is "You Don't Have to Achieve to Be Loved." It's available on Amazon. The easiest place to go is morebeccapearce.com. So my name, More Becca Pearce, and Pearce is Pearce, not the PIE version.
Okay.
So morebeccapearce.com. And if you go there, there's also free resources. If you buy the book, there's free resources if you go there as well.
Nice.
But it is available on Amazon. And I will tell you this funny story about the title of the book. You don't have to achieve to be loved. When I say that to people, people go mute. Like the room, just like you can hear a pin drop in the room, because everybody kind of goes, oh, I have to think about that. So it's really helpful to help people remember too the name of the book.
just the name is already powerful. It's already food for thought, and you haven't even started reading the book.
Right.
But it's very catchy to encourage people to go. What has been the response so far from the people that have read it as you published it?
It has been amazing. I will tell you this, something very interesting. Every single person that has read it has walked away with something. So that mission of mine to touch 100,000 people, 10,000 people, as many people as I can, even people who think that it's not for them. Right? My brother read it, right? My brother's like, first of all, my brother read it and he goes, you and I had a very different upbringing. Because there's a lot of background about, where things came from for me. But other than that, what he said was, I'm going to take this piece away. I didn't think I needed this. I didn't think this book was for me in any way, shape, or form. And I'm going to go see a financial planner because I want to retire. Okay, great.
I love that. Well, and how cool that he read it and gave it that feedback and got value out of it. So that's super cool. So for anyone that's listening to this and thinking, not really for me, which I doubt because of what you just said. Typically, we are motivated by the titles or by the money, right? We attach our identities, especially if you're an entrepreneur. I think we attach our identities so much to that, and there's more to life and happiness. So I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this amazingness with us. Before I have you tell us how people can connect with you, I like asking all of my guests what I call my $1 million question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, Becca, what is an empowered woman to you?
An empowered woman is somebody who understands who they are deep inside, who's willing and ready to listen to. As women, I think that we are taught to push down our own passions and our beliefs and commonly come up with, well, who would listen to me about that? Or I'm not going to speak up. But an empowered woman is a woman who understands what that is saying to them and gives voice to that and has the space to give voice to that.
I love that. That's exactly what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Yourself out there and sharing your voice. I love it. Well, tell us how people can connect with you. Where do you hang out the most? Social media?
So the place I actually hang out the most is LinkedIn, believe it or not, and moreBeccaPearce.com. So my LinkedIn is LinkedIn/Becca Pearce. It's very simple. And moreBeccaPearce.com are the two easiest and fastest way to get a hold of me. I have never done Instagram or Facebook, so I haven't gotten there.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'll make sure and put all those links in the show notes and also for your book. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Thank you for putting your experience and your passion out there to help fellow professionals in overcoming whatever it is that's standing in their way to happiness.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.